The mixed messages that are being put out there from government and from NPHET, and the people caught in the middle who want to, and I've said this many, many times in the programme, who want by and large to do the right thing, but they're being told two different things. The government, in fairness to them, let's give them some credit, are trying to accommodate NPHET's advice. NPHET, the government has been clear from the beginning, they didn't want to differentiate between vaccinated and unvaccinated. They never wanted this. They were very clear. And then that was torpedoed by NPHET, who went, nope, vaccinated in, unvaccinated out. That's what you can do. So the government went, okay. And let's remember one reason. One of the reasons that we're in this position is because of NPHET's obstinate and illogical and anti-science, I suppose, position on antigen testing. If we had antigen testing, we could allow a level playing field. But we don't have antigen testing because that's down to NPHET. And now we can only have vaccinated people inside. That's down to NPHET. So the government are trying to accommodate this advice. And then what happens? They put together this thing, okay, only the vaccinated and their kids. And NPHET comes out and torpedo that as well. And I find it extraordinary. Two things. One is the consistent undermining of government policy when the government are trying to do what they're told. But also, we've been talking about being in it together for a long time, Vincent. That's one of the social solidarity and the narrative of in it together. This does change that between vaccinated and unvaccinated, but it does one other thing. It's back to that shaming thing that, well, I see you're in here with your children. Tony Holohan said you shouldn't be. I don't want to sit next to a table with children in here and all that kind of stuff. Even though people are actually, who go to a restaurant indoors and bring their children with them, are doing nothing wrong and are doing what they're allowed to do. They've now been told, well, you're allowed to do it, but you shouldn't do it anyway. And what way of governing us and what way of advising us and what way of dealing with people who want to do the right thing is that level of inconsistency?
I take your point about the stubborn and obstinate opposition to antigen testing, which we clearly need right across society. But Tony Holohan will argue that he has been consistent here. He never said that unvaccinated children could go in for indoor dining. His position was clear, and he put it to government that only vaccinated people should be allowed in for indoor hospitality.
I'm not saying he's inconsistent. I'm saying he's undermining government position.
By what? By the timing of his announcements, is that it?
By working with government coming up with a policy and then him coming out and torpedoing the policy. And two other things, just about children. Yes, it is possible for children to contract COVID. And yes, it is possible for children to transmit COVID. That's all true. However, they are less likely to transmit COVID because they are more likely to be asymptomatic. And in fact, COVID, in terms of its impact on children's health, they've more chance of contracting the flu and dying of the flu should they contract it than they do of getting COVID and dying of COVID should they contract it. So children are not at major risk of COVID. I know there's some debate about long COVID, but long COVID is a side issue in many ways. We never agreed to lock down to stop long COVID. So in terms of dying of COVID, children are at incredibly low risk. And in terms of transmitting COVID, they are also reduced levels of vectors. I just think it's extraordinary. One message from the CMO, one message from the government, and the people caught in between the two. But look, let us know what you think.